People don't follow talent. They follow certainty. Confidence that shakes the room isn't loud, it's controlled. Dangerous confidence is quiet power, the kind that doesn't ask permission. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think it's about performing, proving, or persuading others to believe in them. They think confidence comes from being noticed, praised, or validated. But the deeper truth is this. Real confidence begins long before anyone else sees it. It begins in the private corners of your mind, in the words you whisper to yourself, and in the standards you choose to uphold when no one is watching. Confidence is not something you inherit. It is something you discipline. If people can't feel the weight of your presence, they will never respect the sound of your voice. You already know what insecure confidence looks like. It's loud, it's shaky, it needs attention to survive. It collapses the moment someone questions it. But dangerous confidence, it's different. It's the kind of confidence that makes people pause when you enter a room because there is something grounded in you, something steady, something certain that they cannot ignore. And the moment you access that version of yourself, everything changes. Your decisions, your boundaries, your relationships, your future. Dangerous confidence is built, not inherited. Most people try to feel confident before acting confident, but that is backward. Confidence doesn't appear first. Action appears first. Discipline appears first. Consistency appears first. And confidence grows in the spaces where doubt used to live. It grows when you commit to your standards, when you show up even when you don't want to, when you speak only what you mean, and when you stop apologizing for existing. You're here because you're tired of hesitating. You're tired of shrinking. You're tired of overthinking every step you take. Somewhere inside you, there is a version that knows exactly what you're capable of, and you're ready to meet that version face to face. This audiobook is the doorway. Confidence is clarity. Confidence is presence. Confidence is precision. Confidence is timing. These 4 pillars are the backbone of dangerous self-belief. Clarity removes confusion and makes your voice sharp. Presence anchors you so deeply that nothing external shakes you. Precision turns your actions into weapons of intention rather than strokes of luck. Timing gives your decisions power because you move with purpose, not panic. When these pillars align, you do not chase confidence, you embody it. In the next 90 minutes, you will learn exactly how to build this version of yourself. Not in theory, not in cliches, but through a system designed to rebuild your inner voice, strengthen your identity, and elevate the way you move through every moment of your life. We will walk through 10 chapters crafted to reshape the way you think, act, speak, and lead yourself. Dangerous confidence is not ego. Dangerous confidence is self-respect turned into action. We begin with your inner voice, because confidence cannot grow in soil poisoned by self-doubt. Then we move into self-trust, the foundation of all inner strength. From there, we cut the weak language that drains your power, build your presence, stabilize your emotional vibration, and strengthen your body language. You will learn how to say less, but say it with weight. You will learn to anchor your identity through action, face conflict with composure, and protect your standards fiercely. So here's the map. We will begin by rebuilding your inner voice, because confidence dies where doubt lives. Then we move into self-trust, the foundation of everything. From there, we rewrite your self-talk, train your presence, stabilize your emotional vibration, strengthen your body language, master the power of saying less, anchor your identity through action, face conflict with composure, and finally, protect your standards like your life depends on them, because it does. Each chapter ends with a line designed to stay with you, a sentence that will become part of your inner vocabulary. You won't feel the structure, but you will feel the transformation. Confidence is not found. It is earned. The words you speak become the beliefs you carry. The actions you repeat become the identity you embody. The boundaries you protect become the freedom you live with. and the presence you build becomes the energy people remember. You don't have to shout to be powerful. You don't have to dominate to be respected. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You only have to become someone whose self-belief is stronger than their fear. So take a breath. Settle in. This is where the old you dissolves and the new you begins to take shape. This is the moment you stop chasing confidence and start becoming someone who cannot be shaken by doubt, rejection, judgment, or noise. Confidence is not a performance, it is a standard, and today you start raising yours. You don't need to be louder, you need to be clearer. You don't need approval, you need alignment. You don't need perfection, you need discipline. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Own your inner voice. Your inner voice is the birthplace of every version of you. Before confidence becomes a posture, before it becomes a tone, before it becomes a presence that people feel the moment you walk into a room, it starts inside your mind. It starts in the quiet self-talk you practice every morning without noticing. It starts in the stories you tell yourself when no one is listening. And it starts in the decisions you make about who you are allowed to become. If your inner voice is weak, apologetic, uncertain, or unstable, nothing external can fix it. But when you own that inner voice, everything external begins to shift in your favor. You will never rise above the voice you listen to the most. Most people lose confidence long before they step into the world. They lose it in the first moments of their day when they wake up and repeat old doubts from yesterday. They lose it in the pauses between conversations where they replay mistakes instead of lessons. They lose it in the comments they make to themselves. I always mess this up. I'm probably wrong. I'm not ready. I'm not enough. These sentences become internal scripts, and those scripts become identity. The tragedy is that most people don't even realize they're training themselves to shrink. The words you speak to yourself shape the world you walk into. There is a reason insecure people crumble when challenged. Their inner voice was fragile long before the challenge appeared. There is a reason confident people remain solid. They have trained their inner world before the outer world arrives. Your inner voice is not random. It is not a reflection of fate. It is a tool, a weapon, a training ground. And if you don't take ownership of it, it will be shaped by fear, by comparison, by people who underestimate you, or by old versions of yourself that no longer deserve authority. You cannot build dangerous confidence on a foundation of self-doubt. You must decide, intentionally, to make your inner voice your ally, rather than your enemy. This begins with awareness. You cannot correct what you cannot hear. And so the first step of ownership is noticing the language running through your mind, catching the moments where you predict failure, where you assume rejection, where you downplay your worth, where you talk to yourself in ways you would never talk to someone you love. Awareness is the first doorway to change. Once you hear the destructive patterns, you begin to reclaim your power. This is where ownership begins. Not with force, not with pretending to be confident, but with a clear decision that you will no longer be a victim of your own thoughts. Confidence does not grow in a mind that attacks itself. It grows in a mind that supports, challenges, and strengthens itself. A mind that leads instead of collapses. Owning your inner voice means you stop negotiating with doubt. It means you stop letting fear become truth. It means you stop letting insecurity make decisions on your behalf. When the old voice whispers, "You can't," you respond, "Watch me." When it says, "You're not ready," you answer, "I'm learning." When it says, "You always fail," you say, "I'm not the same person I was when I failed." This is not delusion. This is discipline. This is leadership. This is you choosing the narrative that shapes your identity. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the dominance of clarity. The deeper work of owning your inner voice is understanding where that voice came from. The insecure self-talk you repeat daily did not originate with you. It came from past experiences that bruised your self-worth. It came from people who projected their fears onto you. It came from moments where you felt small and began telling yourself stories to make sense of it. But the origin of a belief does not determine its future. You're not responsible for where your inner voice started. You are responsible for where it goes next. And here's the truth. You cannot build a powerful life with a voice that constantly undermines you. Every time you downgrade yourself, you teach your subconscious to follow that downgrade. Every time you hesitate before speaking, your inner voice learns to fear expression. Every time you shrink, your inner voice memorizes the posture. But every time you rise, even a little, your inner voice strengthens. Every time you stand your ground, your inner voice grows teeth. Every time you speak with clarity, your inner voice learns its own force. Your mind becomes what you consistently practice. So what does it mean, practically, to own your inner voice? It means training it the same way you train your body, through repetition, intensity, and consistency. It means speaking to yourself with respect, even when you're scared. It means replacing the chaos of overthinking with the calm of intentional language. It means giving yourself clear commands. Stand straight. Speak clearly. Finish what you started. Hold your standard. Don't collapse. Short, direct sentences. The kind of sentences a leader would say. The kind of sentences you deserve to hear. When your inner voice becomes strong, your outer presence transforms. People feel the difference. You start walking differently. You start choosing differently. You start speaking differently. You stop rushing. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You start valuing silence as much as speech. You start making decisions without needing approval. You start trusting your own instincts more than anyone else's opinions. When your inner voice becomes your anchor, no one can shake you. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you begin to speak to yourself with the same weight you hope others will one day hear in your voice. The world responds to the energy you carry, and that energy is crafted inside your mind first. If your inner voice is sharp, calm, disciplined, and certain, people will feel that before you say a word. They won't know why, but they will sense it. They will sense the foundation. They will sense the strength. They will sense the quiet confidence you've built through work no one ever sees. And that is what makes confidence dangerous. Not volume, not arrogance, not ego, but inner certainty that cannot be stolen. So start here, in the quiet, in the unseen, in the place where self-belief is born. The work you do with your inner voice will become the blueprint of every version of you that follows. Strengthen that voice. Clean it, sharpen it, own it. Because the moment you own your inner voice, you own your life. Chapter 2. Build unshakable. Self-trust. You cannot be confident if you don't trust yourself. Every form of dangerous confidence begins with one inner truth. I can rely on me. If that truth is shaky, your confidence will always be shaky. If that truth is strong, your confidence becomes unbreakable. Self-trust is the quiet backbone behind every powerful decision, every risk taken, every boundary held, and every moment where you stand alone without collapsing. You can pretend to be confident, but you cannot pretend to trust yourself. Your mind knows the truth. You're only as confident as the promises you keep to yourself. Most people don't struggle with confidence because they lack talent. They struggle because they break their own agreements. They say they will wake up early, and they don't. They say they will stop apologizing for everything, and they continue. They say they will speak up, but they stay silent. They say they are done with certain habits, but they return to them. Every time you break your word to yourself, even in small ways, your mind remembers, and your confidence pays the price. Self-trust dies in the small moments long before it dies in the big ones. People think the collapse happens suddenly, during a breakup, during a job interview, during a conflict, during a moment when courage is needed. But the collapse starts days, months, even years earlier. It starts in the morning you hit snooze. It starts when you say it's fine when it's not. It starts when you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. It starts in the tiny negotiations you think don't matter. Those negotiations shape your identity, and your identity shapes your confidence. Confidence is not something you feel, it is something you earn. When you trust yourself, your actions carry weight, your words land deeper, Your presence feels anchored. People sense certainty in you because you sense certainty in yourself. The opposite is also true. If you break your own promises, your voice loses volume, your energy loses clarity, and your decisions lose force. You cannot speak powerfully if you don't believe in the voice speaking. You cannot lead others if you do not lead yourself. So the question becomes, how do you build unshakable self-trust? You build it the same way you build any powerful structure. Through discipline, integrity, and proof. You prove to yourself that your word is real. You prove to yourself that your decisions matter. You prove to yourself that you follow through. And with every piece of proof, your inner foundation becomes stronger. Proof is the currency of self-trust. This is why people who rely on motivation fail. Motivation is loud in the moment, but silent when it matters. Self-trust does not come from motivation. It comes from consistency, from keeping your word on the days you don't feel like it, from showing up when nobody is watching, from doing the small things that seem insignificant but build the strongest psychological muscles. Confidence is not built in the spotlight. Confidence is built in the follow-through. Confidence is built in the repetition of small victories. Anyone can feel powerful when they win. But someone who trusts themselves feels powerful even during struggle. Their inner world does not collapse when the outer world becomes chaotic. Their voice doesn't tremble. Their presence doesn't crack. Their decisions remain aligned with their standards. That steadiness is what makes confidence dangerous, because it cannot be disrupted. Self-trust grows where self-betrayal ends, and self-betrayal doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks polite. Sometimes it looks responsible. Sometimes it looks like, I don't want to disappoint others. Sometimes it looks like it's not a big deal. But each act of self-betrayal, no matter how small, chips away at your inner strength. You regain self-trust when you stop abandoning yourself to keep the world comfortable. You regain it when you stop diluting your truth so others won't feel insecure. You regain it when you stop giving people access to parts of you they haven't earned. You regain it when you honor your boundaries, even if someone disagrees. Integrity is confidence. Integrity is power. Integrity is the reason some people speak softly, yet command a room. You can't trust yourself if you keep choosing comfort over growth. This is why self-trust requires discomfort. It requires saying no when yes would be easier. It requires speaking up when silence would protect you. It requires walking away when staying would keep you safe but small. It requires acting before you feel ready. Confidence doesn't grow from comfort. Confidence grows from ownership, owning your choices, owning your standards, owning your identity. So here is a truth most people never hear. You don't need self-love first. You need self-respect first. Self-respect is the soil where self-trust grows. Self-respect is built through action, not affirmation. Self-respect is built through discipline, not desire. And once you respect yourself deeply, you begin trusting yourself automatically. Your confidence becomes a natural extension of your integrity. To build unshakable self-trust, start with promises small enough to keep but meaningful enough to matter. Wake up at the time you said you would. Finish the task you started. Keep the boundary you set. Follow through on the plan you committed to. Each small promise you keep becomes a brick in your foundation, and foundations aren't built in a day. They're built through repetition. Trust grows in the repetition of truth. When your mind sees you do what you said you would do, something incredible happens. It begins to believe you. Your doubts lose authority. Your fear loses influence. Your insecurities lose their grip. You begin to feel like someone who can count on themselves. That feeling is rare. That feeling is powerful. That feeling is dangerous, in the most disciplined, grounded, unstoppable way. Self-trust also requires honesty. You must tell yourself the truth about your patterns, about your excuses, about your habits, about the ways you sabotage your own growth. Not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. You cannot change what you refuse to admit, and you cannot lead yourself if you lie to yourself. Honesty is the mirror. Discipline is the cure. Once you see your patterns clearly, you can change them, not overnight, not instantly, but deliberately. That's the key. Deliberate action, the choice to rise 1 inch higher than yesterday, the choice to keep your word even when your mood changes, the choice to stop negotiating with weakness, the choice to align your behavior with the identity you claim to want. Because self-trust is identity in action, and confidence is identity made visible. The more you trust yourself, the less you fear people. The more you trust yourself, the less you need approval. The more you trust yourself, the less you hesitate. The more you trust yourself, the more dangerous your confidence becomes. You become your own source of certainty. So commit to this. No more breaking promises to yourself. No more shrinking to keep the peace. No more hiding your truth. No more treating your standards like suggestions. Build a relationship with yourself that you would be proud of. Speak to yourself with respect. Act with alignment. Protect your word like it's sacred, because it is. And when you trust yourself fully, confidence becomes inevitable. Chapter 3. Kill weak self-talk. Your words are building something. The question is whether they are building your strength or your destruction. Every day, every hour, every small moment when you talk to yourself, you're shaping an identity. Quietly, invisibly, powerfully. Most people don't realize this. They think confidence is about how you talk to others, but real confidence begins with how you talk to yourself when no one can hear you. Weak self-talk is the silent assassin of self-esteem, and it kills more potential than failure ever will. Your confidence cannot rise higher than the language you use with yourself. Most people speak to themselves in ways they would never dare speak to a friend. They criticize themselves for mistakes. They minimize their achievements. They exaggerate their flaws. They anticipate rejection before it comes. They apologize in their mind for simply existing. This internal commentary becomes a loop that plays non-stop, and eventually it becomes the soundtrack of their self-worth. If the language in your mind is weak, the person you become will be weak. Weak self-talk doesn't always sound dramatic. Sometimes it sounds subtle, polite, reasonable. Phrases like, "I'm not good at this. I don't think I can. I always mess up. This is just who I am. Other people are better than me. I don't deserve this. I don't want to bother anyone." These sentences sound harmless. They're not. They're identity statements. They're mental contracts. And the more you repeat them, the more your mind treats them as truth. A single weak sentence can undo hours of effort. This is why people feel stuck even when they are trying hard. Their actions push forward, but their self-talk pulls backward. Their effort shouts strength, but their mind whispers limitation. And the whisper wins. Because the voice inside you is the voice you hear the most. It is the voice your nervous system trusts. It is the voice that shapes the emotion behind every move you make. To kill weak self-talk, you must first understand what it actually is. It is not humility. It is not modesty. It is not realism. It is fear speaking through politeness. It is insecurity disguised as logic. It is the echo of old wounds still pretending to be guidance. It is the part of you that wants safety more than growth. Weak self-talk is not the truth. It is a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken, rewired, destroyed, and replaced. But before you destroy anything, you must observe it. You must hear it. You must catch it in real time. Confidence begins with awareness. You cannot change the tone of your inner voice if you refuse to listen to what it currently sounds like. So start listening, not to obey, but to confront. You'll begin to notice patterns, specific triggers that activate insecurity. Maybe it's when you're around certain people. Maybe it's when you're about to try something new. Maybe it's when you're tired, stressed, or comparing yourself. Every pattern tells a story about what your mind fears and what your confidence needs to challenge. Awareness makes the invisible enemy visible. Once you see the patterns, the next step is cutting them, not negotiating with them, not softening them, cutting them. Weak self-talk dies when you stop letting it finish its sentences. When it begins whispering, "You can't," you interrupt with "Stop." When it starts predicting failure, you challenge it with action. When it tries to shrink your identity, you expand your posture, your breathing, your presence. Weak self-talk loses power when you refuse to participate in its conversation. Your mind obeys the words you repeat. So stop repeating weakness. Replacing weak self-talk doesn't mean switching to delusion. It means anchoring your language in strength, clarity, honesty, and intention. You replace "I'm not good at this" with "I'm learning." You replace "I can't handle this" with "I can figure this out." You replace "I'm always anxious" with "I'm practicing calm." You replace "nobody respects me" with "I will carry myself with respect." These sentences are not motivational fluff. They are recalibrations. They are internal commands that direct your nervous system toward confidence instead of collapse. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing the version of the truth that builds you instead of breaks you. The words you choose determine the emotions you feel. Emotion follows language. Identity follows emotion. Behavior follows identity. Life follows behavior. This is why killing weak self-talk is essential. It is not a bonus step. It is the core of transformation. You cannot rise with a voice inside you that constantly pulls you back down. Another critical piece of killing weak self-talk is tone. Confidence is not only what you say to yourself, it's how you say it. Your tone matters. Your voice matters. Your internal posture matters. If you speak to yourself as if you're fragile, you will feel fragile. If you speak to yourself as if you're a threat, you will feel powerful. Confidence is a tone before it becomes a behavior. If your inner voice is quiet and apologetic, your outer world will treat you the same way. If your inner voice is firm and grounded, the world adjusts. People respond differently to someone whose inner world is aligned with strength. They sense certainty. They sense presence. They sense calm authority, even before a word is spoken. Another enemy of self-talk is comparison. Comparison is a virus that infects your confidence. It makes you forget your own progress, your own strengths, your own path. When you compare yourself to others, your self-talk shifts from self-leadership to self-judgment. And self-judgment always produces weak language. To kill comparison, you must remove its fuel, attention. Return attention to your lane. Return attention to your growth. Return attention to your identity. Weak self-talk dissolves when you stop measuring your life against timelines that were never meant for you. Strong self-talk is not arrogance. Strong self-talk is alignment. Alignment with your values. Alignment with your goals. Alignment with the person you're becoming. When your language aligns with your growth, your entire emotional system shifts. You begin to feel capable. You begin to act with clarity. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to trust your presence. And confidence becomes a natural side effect of the way you speak to yourself. The final stage of killing weak self-talk is practice. Not once, not occasionally, daily, consistently, until strength becomes your default. This is where most people fail, not because they're incapable, but because they expect immediate results. Weak self-talk took years to form. Strong self-talk takes time to replace. But every moment of discipline builds momentum. Mastery is repetition. Confidence is repetition. Identity is repetition. You must speak to yourself with strength even on the days you feel weak. You must speak to yourself with power even when doubt tries to rise. You must speak to yourself with clarity even when the world feels confusing. Confidence is not built by avoiding weakness. Confidence is built by overpowering weakness. And when your inner voice becomes strong, when your internal language becomes a weapon of truth, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You stop shrinking. You stop second-guessing. You stop apologizing. You step into rooms with presence. You speak with certainty. You move with intention. When you kill weak self-talk, fear loses its language. And when fear loses its language, it loses its control. This is how dangerous confidence is born. Inside your mind, one sentence at a time. Chapter 4. Train your presence. Presence speaks before you do. Before you say a word, your energy enters the room first. Before you open your mouth, people feel your state. Before your ideas matter, your presence is judged. Confidence may be built in your mind, but it is recognized in your body. And if you want to become dangerously confident, you must learn to train your presence with the same seriousness you train your skills, your habits, and your discipline. People trust those who look like they trust themselves. Presence is not about perfection. It is not about walking like a model or pretending to be someone you're not. Presence is about alignment. Your mind, your body, your breathing, your focus all moving in the same direction. When your inner world is grounded, your outer world reflects it. When your inner world is chaotic, your body exposes it. You can try to hide insecurity with words, but your presence will always tell the truth. Your presence is a broadcast. Your posture is a message. Your silence has a tone, and every part of your physical being is constantly communicating something, either confidence or apology. Confidence enters the room. Insecurity apologizes for being there. Most people don't realize how much their body has been trained by years of doubt. They slouch to appear smaller. They walk quickly to avoid being noticed. They speak with hesitation. Their shoulders fold inward. Their eyes move anxiously. Their breath becomes shallow. Their movements shrink. All of this creates an energy of self-protection, not self-belief. Presence is not just about how you look. It's about the intention behind how you move. Weak presence says, "I hope no one judges me." Strong presence says, "I am here. I belong here. I am centered." You train presence the same way you train confidence, deliberately. It starts with posture, not rigid, not forced, just aligned. Shoulders back, chest open, head level, feet grounded. This is not for appearance. It is for physiology. Your body posture directly affects your emotional state. When your posture collapses, your confidence collapses. When your posture strengthens, your confidence rises. Your posture becomes your anchor. Your posture becomes your stability. Your posture becomes your introduction. But posture alone is not presence. You also need stillness. Stillness is power. Stillness is control. Stillness is authority. People who cannot hold still cannot hold themselves. Rapid fidgeting, unnecessary movements, constant shifting, tapping, adjusting. These are signs of internal noise. Strong presence requires silence in the body, not just silence in the mouth. When your body is calm, people feel your strength. And then comes breath, one of the most underestimated tools of dangerous confidence. Your breathing determines your emotional state. Shallow breathing triggers anxiety. Slow breathing triggers calm. Confident people breathe deeply, slowly, consistently. Their breath is grounded. Their chest expands. Their voice becomes fuller. Their presence settles into the environment rather than fighting against it. Breath is the remote control of your nervous system. Breath is how you regulate your power. Breath is how you reclaim control in difficult moments. If you want to train your presence, train your breath. Another pillar of presence is eye contact, not aggressive, not intrusive, but intentional. Strong eye contact signals two things: awareness and self-assurance. It says, "I'm here with you," and "I'm not intimidated by this moment." Most people look away, not because they are polite, but because they are uncomfortable. Eye contact is one of the simplest ways to project confidence without saying a word. Your eyes reveal your courage long before your words do. Train yourself to hold eye contact naturally, not staring, not forcing, just grounded attention. People can feel when you're genuinely present with them, and presence builds respect faster than charisma. Another key aspect of presence is pace. Confident people do not rush. They do not speak quickly. They do not move frantically. Rushing signals fear. Slow, deliberate movement signals clarity. When you slow down, you create room for others to adjust to your energy instead of you adjusting to theirs. When you move slowly, your confidence becomes unmistakable. Presence also requires boundaries, not in words, but in the way you carry yourself. People who lack presence often feel responsible for managing the emotions of everyone around them. They shrink to avoid inconvenience. They soften themselves to avoid conflict. They smile to appear agreeable. They laugh to fill silence. They nod excessively. These behaviors weaken presence because they signal that your identity is negotiable. But dangerous confidence has edges. It has lines. It has shape. Presence without boundaries turns into people-pleasing. Presence with boundaries turns into respect. To train boundaries physically, practice occupying your space without apologizing for it. Stand firmly. Sit with your back straight. Enter rooms intentionally. Let your words breathe. Let silence exist. Let others adjust to your pace. This is how presence becomes leadership. Presence is not loud. Presence is not dramatic. Presence is not performance. Presence is the still gravity of someone who knows who they are. But here's the truth people avoid. Your presence will not grow if your environment keeps shrinking you. You must train presence in real situations, not just in the mirror. Train it in conversations. Train it in conflict. Train it when you're nervous. Train it when you're intimidated. Train it when you feel out of place. Presence is forged through exposure, not comfort. The more uncomfortable the situation, the stronger the training. And presence grows fastest when you stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be intentional. When you remove the pressure to look confident and focus instead on being centered, grounded, aligned, and alert. You cannot fake presence, not for long, but you can build it, and once built, it becomes your signature. Presence is power disguised as calm. Your presence becomes stronger every time you choose steadiness over panic. Your presence becomes stronger every time you hold eye contact during discomfort. Your presence becomes stronger every time you breathe slowly through tension. Your presence becomes stronger every time you refuse to rush. Presence is built in micro moments, the half-second pauses, the quiet exhale, the lifted posture, the softened jaw, the steady gaze, the silent decision to remain grounded even when your body wants to retreat. You train presence the same way warriors train precision, one intentional motion at a time. You train until it becomes effortless. You train until your body naturally aligns with confidence. You train until your stillness becomes louder than any words you could speak. And then something powerful happens. People begin reacting differently to you. They become more respectful. They become more attentive. They take your words more seriously. They treat you like someone who carries weight. Because presence changes the entire atmosphere around you. Presence shifts the emotional tone of the room. Presence earns authority before you even ask for it. Presence is not about controlling others. Presence is about controlling yourself so deeply that others feel it. When you train your presence, you become someone who does not flinch under pressure. You become someone who does not shake in the face of conflict. You become someone who does not collapse when challenged. You become someone who makes people feel the quiet force within you. And that is why presence is a cornerstone of dangerous confidence. Because a confident mind is powerful, but a confident presence is unforgettable. Train your presence until your silence becomes your strength. Chapter 5. Control your emotional vibration. Calm is the highest form of confidence. Before confidence becomes a tone or a presence, it becomes an emotional state. Steady, grounded, unshakable. That state is what I call emotional vibration. It is the frequency you operate from. It shapes your decisions, your reactions, your relationships, your presence, your opportunities, and even the way people treat you. If your emotional vibration is chaotic, your confidence becomes unpredictable. But if your emotional vibration is calm, your confidence becomes dangerous. Your emotional vibration determines how you show up when life pressures you. Anyone can be confident when nothing is wrong. Anyone can look composed when everything goes their way. Confidence means nothing when the world is gentle. But dangerous confidence reveals itself in pressure, conflict, noise, uncertainty, and discomfort. It is the ability to stay centered when others lose their ground. It is the ability to think clearly when others panic. It is the ability to hold your identity steady when the environment tries to shake it. Pressure doesn't create your emotional vibration. It exposes it. If you want to control your emotional vibration, you must first understand how easily it can be manipulated. Most people live in reaction mode, reacting to comments, to moods, to situations, to fears, to stress, to people who barely matter. Their emotional state rises and falls with everything happening around them. This makes confidence impossible. Because you cannot be confident if your inner world depends on external stability. Anything that controls your emotions controls your life. The person who can get under your skin owns you. The situation that can trigger you owns you. The fear that can paralyze you owns you. The doubt that can silence you owns you. Dangerous confidence begins when you take that power back. The first step in controlling your emotional vibration is awareness. You cannot regulate what you cannot recognize. Most people feel emotions without understanding their roots. They feel anger without noticing it came from insecurity. They feel anxiety without noticing it came from anticipation. They feel fear without noticing it came from overthinking. Awareness allows you to separate the emotion from the identity. You feel many emotions. You are not any of them. Once you create that distance, you can begin controlling your vibration intentionally instead of reacting instinctively. This is where the real work begins. You must learn the patterns that destabilize you. Some people crumble when challenged. Some collapse when ignored. Some panic when rejected. Some react when disrespected. Some spiral when uncertain. Each pattern is a trigger, and each trigger becomes a training opportunity. Triggers are not weaknesses. Triggers are invitations to grow. The second step in controlling your emotional vibration is breath. Your breath is the remote control of your nervous system. When your breath speeds up, your emotions speed up. When your breath slows down, your emotions slow down. Confident people breathe deeply. Their breath is steady. Their breath is calm. Their breath does not panic even when their mind is tempted to. Your breath teaches your body how powerful you feel. Slow breath, calm identity. Fast breath, reactive identity. Your emotional vibration shifts the moment your breath does. The third step is posture. Your body signals your emotions long before your mind interprets them. If your posture collapses, your emotional vibration collapses. If your posture rises, your emotional vibration rises. Confident posture sends a message to your nervous system. We are safe, we are grounded, we are in control. When your posture is solid, your emotions follow. Your body leads your mind, not the other way around. The fourth step is inner language. Emotional vibration is shaped by internal dialogue. If your inner voice is panicked, your emotional vibration becomes frantic. If your inner voice is grounded, your emotional vibration becomes stable. When something challenges you, your emotional vibration is determined by what you say to yourself in that first second. Weak self-talk. Not again. I can't handle this. Strong self-talk. Slow. Breathe. Stay here. You've got this. One sentence can shift your entire emotional frequency. The fifth step in controlling your emotional vibration is detachment, not emotional numbness, emotional leadership. Detachment means you do not let situations dictate your identity. It means you respond from clarity instead of reacting from fear. It means you stop taking everything personally. You stop giving meaning to things that don't deserve meaning. You stop carrying burdens that aren't yours. Detachment is not lack of care. It is lack of chaos. You stop absorbing every energy in the room. You stop internalizing every opinion. You stop letting people's moods dictate your state. You stop letting temporary emotions create permanent decisions. This is emotional maturity, and emotional maturity creates dangerous confidence. The sixth step is choosing your emotional baseline. Most people wake up and wait to see how the day will feel. Confident people decide how they will feel before the day begins. They choose calm, they choose steadiness, they choose clarity, they choose focus. They choose a vibration that supports their goals, not one that sabotages them. You do not wait for emotional stability. You create it. One of the most powerful ways to train emotional vibration is through presence. When you feel overwhelmed, your mind runs into the future. When you feel anxious, your mind runs into the past. When you feel insecure, your mind runs into imaginary scenarios. But when you bring your attention back to the present moment, your breath, your body, your surroundings, your emotional vibration settles. Presence pulls you back into control. Awareness pulls you back into strength. Attention pulls you back into confidence. You cannot be emotionally grounded if you are mentally scattered. Another essential part of controlling emotional vibration is tempo. Confident people move slowly. They speak slowly. They react slowly. Slowness is not weakness. It is control. Rushing is what insecure people do. They rush through conversations. They rush through explanations. They rush through decisions. Rushing is a physical symptom of emotional instability. When you slow down, you shift your frequency. You communicate certainty, not just to others, but to yourself. Stillness is your power. Finally, emotional vibration is strengthened by exposure. You must practice calm in uncomfortable settings. You must practice clarity in chaotic environments. You must practice silence when your ego wants to defend itself. You must practice pausing when you want to react. Emotional control is a muscle, and discomfort is the gym. Confidence is not built by avoiding emotional challenges. Confidence is built by entering them consciously. Confidence is built by choosing response over reaction. When you consistently choose calm over chaos, something profound happens. Your emotional vibration becomes your identity. You no longer try to stay calm. You simply are calm. You no longer try to control your emotions. You live in control. You no longer try to feel confident. You radiate it. And people feel it. They trust it. They respond to it. They respect it. Because emotional stability is rare. And rare things are powerful. Control your emotional vibration, and you control how the world experiences you. Dangerous confidence is not loud. Dangerous confidence is not aggressive. Dangerous confidence is not dramatic. Dangerous confidence is calm. Calm builds clarity. Calm builds presence. Calm builds influence. Calm builds power. When you control the vibration inside you, nothing outside you can shake you. And that is the moment you become untouchable. Chapter 6. Rewire your body language. Your body tells the truth even when your voice tries to lie. Before people judge your words, they judge your posture. Before they hear your message, they hear your energy. Before they decide if you're confident or insecure, they read your body language. Instantly, subconsciously, accurately. You can say all the right things, but if your body speaks the language of fear, doubt, hesitation, or apology, people will feel it, and you will feel it too. Your body broadcasts your identity long before your mind explains it. Most people don't realize how deeply their body is shaped by their past. They carry old insecurities in their shoulders. They carry social anxiety in their hands. They carry low self-worth in their posture. They carry fear in the way they move around others. Without noticing, they send signals of weakness, signals of uncertainty, signals of shrinking, signals that undermine their confidence before they even speak. Your body language is not a mirror of who you are. It is a mirror of what you've practiced. If you've practiced shrinking, you shrink. If you've practiced tension, you tense. If you've practiced avoiding, you avoid. If you've practiced fear, your body memorizes fear. The good news is simple and powerful. What you practice can be rewired. Rewiring your body language is not about pretending. It is not about acting confident. It is not about fake it till you make it. It is about reconditioning the physical habits that hold you back and replacing them with physical habits that support your identity. Dangerous confidence is not just mental, it is physical. When your body aligns with confidence, your mind follows. Your physiology is the foundation of your psychology. Start with posture, not theatrical posture, not exaggerated posture. True posture. Open chest, grounded feet, unlocked knees, relaxed jaw, shoulders rolled back and down, spine lifted but not tense. This posture sends a message to your nervous system that you are stable, safe, and capable. Your breath deepens, your heart rate slows, your mind sharpens, your posture shapes your emotional state. Weak posture signals vulnerability. Strong posture signals readiness. Weak posture makes you feel smaller. Strong posture makes you feel anchored. Your posture is not decoration. It is communication. Next comes movement. Confident people do not move frantically. Their gestures have intention. Their pace is controlled. Their transitions are gentle. Their hands move with clarity instead of nervousness. Their steps are deliberate, not rushed. Their physical rhythm creates a sense of authority. Rushed movement is the body of insecurity. Deliberate movement is the body of confidence. The way you carry yourself teaches others how to treat you. And even more importantly, it teaches you how to treat yourself. Then there is facial expression, something most people overlook. You can say 1,000 confident words, but if your facial muscles are tense, your eyebrows pulled together, or your expression looks fearful, people feel the conflict. Confidence lives in calm facial control, softened forehead, relaxed jaw, neutral but steady eye expression. When your face is calm, your mind calms with it. A calm face is emotional leadership in physical form. The next layer is eye contact, one of the strongest tools of body language. Eye contact is not staring. It is not dominance. It is not intimidation. True confident eye contact is grounded, relaxed, steady, and intentional. It says, "I'm here, I'm present, I'm not afraid." Weak eye contact reveals internal chaos. Strong eye contact reveals internal clarity. You do not need to hold eye contact forever. You simply need to hold it long enough to communicate presence, awareness, and calm self-assurance. People follow the energy of someone who looks at them with steadiness, not fear, not intensity, but grounded attention. Your eyes are the doorway to your confidence. Breathing is also a major part of body language. When you breathe shallow, your shoulders rise, your chest tightens, and your presence shrinks. When you breathe deeply, your entire body opens, stabilizes, and becomes powerful. Breath shapes posture. Breath shapes tone. Breath shapes presence. If you want to rewire your body language, rewire your breath. Confident breath creates confident presence. Voice tone is body language too. Not volume, tone. Not loudness, weight. A confident voice comes from the chest and diaphragm, not the throat. It is paced, steady, and deliberate. It has space between phrases. It refuses to rush. It refuses to collapse. If your voice shakes, it is not weakness. It is your nervous system asking for alignment. Expand your posture. Slow your breath. Lower your pace. Your voice will settle. Confidence is not the absence of nerves. It is the mastery of them. One of the most important but underrated aspects of body language is stillness. Stillness is not rigidity. It is intentional calm. It is physical control. It is emotional grounding made visible. Stillness is a power most people never learn. Insecure people fidget, overmove, over-explain, overreact. Their energy leaks everywhere. Confident people conserve their energy. They use small, clean, intentional motions. They do not feel the need to fill silence. They do not feel the need to prove anything physically. Their presence is enough. Stillness tells people you are centered. Stillness tells people you are not overwhelmed. Stillness tells people you lead your emotions instead of following them. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is power under control. To rewire your body language, you must also remove the physical habits that weaken you. Habits like looking down too often. Habits like collapsing your shoulders. Habits like stepping backward when questioned. Habits like crossing your arms tightly. Habits like shrinking your movements to avoid taking up space. These habits are not random. They come from old conditioning that taught you to avoid discomfort. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. You must teach it something new, something stronger, something aligned with who you are becoming. Begin with micro-corrections. When you catch yourself shrinking, expand by 1 inch. When you catch yourself tensing, release your jaw. When you catch yourself looking down, lift your eyes slowly. When you catch yourself folding your arms, open your stance. Each small correction rewires the system. You don't need a transformation. You need thousands of small corrections. Over time, your body begins adopting stronger patterns automatically. And then something powerful happens. Your confidence becomes embodied, not performed. It becomes effortless. It becomes natural. It becomes who you are. At this point, people will treat you differently without knowing why. They will speak to you more respectfully. They will take your ideas more seriously. They will listen more attentively. They will trust you faster. Because your body language communicates something rare in the modern world. Inner stability. Most people are emotionally scattered. Most people are physically tense. Most people are mentally overwhelmed. When you show up with calm posture, slow movement, steady breath, and grounded eye contact, you become a contrast. You become memorable. You become influential. And that is why body language matters. Not for manipulation, not for being impressive, but because your body is a vessel for your confidence, and people feel that energy instantly. Dangerous confidence is not just in your words. It is in the way you stand, the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you look at the world. Rewire your body language, and you rewire the story your presence tells. You create a new physical identity, one that supports your strength instead of sabotaging it. One that reveals your confidence instead of hiding it. One that carries your truth instead of your fear. Train your body to speak the language your future requires. Because when your body and mind align, your confidence becomes unstoppable. Chapter 7. Master the power of saying. Less silence is a weapon most people never learn how to use. In a world where everyone talks too much, explains too much, reacts too quickly, and fills every quiet moment with noise, the person who says less becomes magnetic. The person who says less becomes mysterious. The person who says less becomes powerful. People listen to those who aren't desperate to be heard. People respect those who speak from intention, not insecurity. Speaking less is not passivity. It is strategy. The quieter you become, the more dangerous your confidence grows. Most people speak because they fear silence. They rush into conversations because they fear judgment. They over-explain because they fear misunderstanding. They interrupt themselves because they fear rejection. Weak confidence hides in words. Strong confidence hides in silence. And dangerous confidence knows exactly when to speak and when not to. You don't rise by talking more. You rise by talking with weight. To master the power of saying less, you have to understand why you say too much in the first place. Talkativeness is often a mask for fear. People ramble because they are uncomfortable. They talk to fill space that threatens to expose their insecurity. They talk to avoid tension. They talk to seek approval. They talk to convince people they matter. But the more you talk, the less people value your voice. When words are cheap, presence becomes expensive. Pay attention to the people who speak the least in a room. Often, they are the ones people watch the most. Their silence creates gravity. Their words feel intentional. They do not compete for attention, yet attention naturally gravitates toward them. That is the nature of dangerous confidence. It pulls, not pushes. Saying less begins with self-control. You must control your impulse to react instantly. You must control the urge to fill every gap. You must control the old habits of chasing validation through explanations. You must learn to let silence breathe. Silence creates power. Noise destroys it. When you speak less, your mind becomes sharper. Your awareness deepens. You catch details you used to miss. You observe people more clearly. You understand intentions faster. You navigate tension with more precision. Confidence is not just about what you project outward. It is about how much control you maintain inward, and saying less gives you control. One of the core principles of dangerous confidence is this: you don't owe the world an explanation for being who you are. Over-explaining is the behavior of someone who feels they need permission to exist. They justify everything. They apologize for everything. They try to convince others to accept their choices. This drains confidence. The confident person states their boundary, their choice, their decision, and then stops talking. Explaining less starts respecting yourself more. Another reason people talk too much is because they are afraid of being misunderstood. But misunderstanding is not a threat. It is a filter. The right people understand you with fewer words. The wrong people would misunderstand you even if you gave them 1,000. Let your clarity guide your words. Let your confidence handle the rest. The power of saying less also shows up in conflict. Insecure people fight with volume. Confident people fight with precision. The insecure react. The confident respond. The insecure defend every accusation. The confident choose which battles deserve their breath. When you say less in conflict, you gain leverage. You show emotional stability. You force the other person to reveal more than you do. Silence exposes truth faster than arguments ever will. Your silence can disarm someone faster than your anger. Saying less does not mean suppressing your feelings or avoiding difficult conversations. It means choosing your words with purpose. It means using your voice as a tool, not a weapon of insecurity. It means speaking from a place of strength instead of reaction. To master this, you must study your patterns. When do you ramble? When do you justify? When do you overshare? When do you respond too quickly? Every pattern reveals a place where your confidence is leaking. And leaks can be sealed. If your voice leaks insecurity, your silence must grow discipline. The art of saying less also trains your presence. When you speak less, your body language must speak more, and it will. Your posture, your breath, your gaze, your stillness all gain intensity when they aren't overshadowed by unnecessary words. People feel you more strongly when you speak less. Your presence becomes louder when your words become fewer. Confidence grows when you stop rushing to fill silence. Silence is uncomfortable only for people who feel unsafe inside themselves. When you become grounded, silence becomes a friend. Silence becomes a tool. Silence becomes a signal that you are connected to your inner strength, not dependent on external noise. Conversation becomes clearer, too. You start waiting before responding. You listen fully. You create space. You think from clarity instead of emotion. You speak what is essential. This is how leaders talk. This is how people with influence communicate. They choose words like currency, not something to waste, but something to invest. Say less. Mean more. Saying less also helps you see people for who they really are. When you stop filling the space, others reveal themselves. They show their intentions. They expose their insecurities. They tell on themselves. The less you say, the more you understand. And this understanding gives you power. Quiet power, strategic power, confident power. One of the most transformative shifts in mastering silence is learning the difference between responding and reacting. Reaction is emotional. Response is intentional. Reaction comes from fear. Response comes from strength. Reaction requires many words. Response often requires only a few. Reacting is what insecure people do. Responding is what confident people do. There will be moments in life where someone challenges your worth, underestimates your intelligence, or pushes your boundaries. When you respond with silence or with a short, grounded statement, you teach them who they are talking to. Your minimal words force them to feel the weight of your presence. Fewer words, more force. Saying less also rewires your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who does not need to perform, someone who does not need permission, someone who does not need approval, someone who does not need to explain their existence. This identity shift is where dangerous confidence begins. You become someone who walks into rooms without shrinking, someone who cannot be provoked easily, someone who does not waste energy on noise, someone whose presence is enough. And eventually, this becomes your natural state. Saying less trains your power. Saying less protects your power. Saying less multiplies your power. The key to mastering this chapter is practice. Practice waiting 2 seconds before responding. Practice ending sentences earlier. Practice leaving silence in conversations. Practice using short statements instead of long explanations. Practice letting people sit with your words. Most importantly, practice the discipline of being understood without over-explaining. The fewer words you use, the more intentional you must become. The more intentional you become, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the less you need words at all. You communicate through presence, through tone, through energy, through silence. And that is why people who say less are dangerous. They are unpredictable, unshakable, and unforgettable. Master the power of saying less, and your confidence will speak louder than your voice ever could. Chapter 8. Build identity through action. You don't become confident by thinking. You become confident by doing. Identity is not formed in your imagination. It is not formed in your dreams. It is not formed in your intentions. Identity is formed through action, consistent action, uncomfortable action, deliberate action, disciplined action. What you repeatedly do becomes what you naturally are. And if you want to become dangerously confident, you must build your identity through the choices you make every day. Action is the architect of identity. Most people misunderstand confidence because they try to feel confident before doing anything. They wait for courage. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel ready. But confidence does not come first. Action does. Confidence follows like a shadow. You act your way into confidence, not the other way around. You cannot think your way into becoming powerful. You must act your way into becoming powerful. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you grow. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you evolve. Every time you choose courage over convenience, you transform. Confidence is not built in the moments where action is easy. It is built in the moments where action is uncomfortable, where your fear says stop, but your identity says go. Identity grows when you break your own patterns. Identity grows when you step into situations you used to avoid. Identity grows when you prove to yourself that your old limits no longer define you. Nothing builds identity faster than doing what the old you would avoid. The old you hesitated. The new you moves. The old you doubted. The new you decides. The old you feared judgment. The new you fears stagnation. Dangerous confidence comes from behaving like the person you intend to become long before you feel like that person. This is the secret most people never learn. Your identity will obey your actions. If you repeatedly act with hesitation, you become hesitant. If you repeatedly act with strength, you become strong. If you repeatedly act with courage, you become courageous. If you repeatedly act with confidence, you become confident. Your actions rewrite your self-image. They override old conditioning. They rewire old beliefs. They dissolve old limits. And they send a message to your subconscious. We are someone new now. Your actions are instructions to your identity. You can't speak like a powerful person while acting like a weak one. You can't think like a leader while behaving like a follower. You can't expect confidence while living in avoidance. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. But there is a deeper truth you must understand. Small actions build identity faster than big ones. Big actions are rare. Small actions are daily. Big actions require courage. Small actions require consistency. And consistency is what rewires identity at the deepest level. The person who does one small act of discipline every day becomes unrecognizable after a year. Meanwhile, the person who waits for big, dramatic moments stays the same. Identity grows in repetition, not in intensity. Every time you show up when you don't want to, you build identity. Every time you finish what you start, you build identity. Every time you honor your standards, you build identity. Every time you keep your promises to yourself, you build identity. You don't need perfect action, you need consistent action. One of the most powerful ways to build identity is by choosing the hard thing, daily. Hard things don't just strengthen your character, they strengthen your self-respect. And self-respect is the fuel of confidence. When you do something difficult, even something small, you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort. You prove that you can lead yourself. You prove that you can rely on yourself. The fastest way to destroy confidence is to avoid discomfort. The fastest way to build confidence is to walk into it. Avoidance builds weakness. Action builds identity. Another essential part of building identity through action is alignment. You must act in alignment with your future, not your fear. Most people act based on emotion, and emotion is unstable. Emotion fluctuates. Emotion changes hour to hour, but identity built on emotion is fragile. Identity built on standards is unbreakable. Your standards determine your actions. Your actions determine your identity. Your identity determines your confidence. This is why people with strong standards command respect. They live in alignment with the future they are creating. They do not compromise easily. They do not negotiate with weakness. They act with intention, not impulse. Confidence is the result of living in alignment with your standards. If you want to become dangerously confident, you must adopt the identity of someone who follows through. Someone who does what they said they would do. Someone who doesn't run from discomfort. Someone who doesn't collapse under pressure. Someone who doesn't quit because the mood changed. Confidence is loyalty to yourself. To build identity through action, you must also embrace repetition, not glamorous repetition, not exciting repetition. Boring repetition. The kind of repetition that feels dull, mundane, invisible. Champions are built through repetition that nobody celebrates. Confidence is built the same way. Invisible work creates visible confidence. People only see the results. They never see the repetitions. But your mind sees them, and your mind records them, and your mind rewards you for them. The more repetitions of strength you accumulate, the more your identity internalizes that strength. One of the most powerful shifts in building identity is understanding that you don't need to be fearless. You need to be willing. You don't need to erase your doubt. You need to move through it. You don't need to eliminate discomfort. You need to choose action despite it. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the decision to act while afraid. Every time you act while afraid, you redefine yourself. You break an old barrier. You silence an old voice. You upgrade an old identity. You take another step toward becoming someone who no longer negotiates with fear. Another essential element of identity is discipline. Not harsh discipline, not self-punishment, but identity-driven discipline, action tied to who you want to be. Discipline becomes easy when it becomes identity. When you are someone who trains daily, training is no longer effort, it's identity. When you are someone who honors boundaries, saying no becomes natural, it's identity. When you are someone who follows through, completing tasks becomes instinct, it's identity. Identity makes discipline effortless. The final stage of building identity through action is embodiment. This is when your actions and identity merge. This is when confidence stops being something you chase. This is when confidence becomes something you are. You walk differently. You move differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. You react differently. Because your identity has shifted from someone who doubts to someone who acts. Action builds identity. Identity builds confidence. Confidence builds destiny. If you want to become dangerously confident, stop waiting for the feeling. Act, move, do, prove, repeat. Confidence is not an emotion. Confidence is evidence. Evidence created by action. Evidence stored in identity. Build identity through action, and the world will feel the power you've built long before you say a word. Chapter 9. Face conflict without fear. Confidence means nothing until it is tested by conflict. You can be calm in silence. You can be strong in safety. You can be centered when things are easy. But the real measurement of dangerous confidence is who you become when challenged, when someone disrespects you, when life pushes you, when the environment shakes your identity. Conflict exposes the truth of your inner world. It shows what you really believe about yourself. Confidence that disappears in conflict was never confidence. It was comfort. Most people fear conflict because they fear losing control. They fear being judged, misunderstood, rejected, disliked, or exposed. But the deeper truth is this: people don't fear conflict itself. They fear who they become inside conflict. They fear their own reactions. They fear their own emotional instability. They fear shrinking, trembling, collapsing. You don't fear conflict. You fear losing your power in conflict. Dangerously confident people don't avoid conflict. They master themselves within it. They don't escalate. They don't panic. They don't fold. They don't respond from ego. They respond from clarity. They respond from intention. They respond from inner stability. To face conflict without fear, you must first understand what conflict truly is. Conflict is not chaos. Conflict is not threat. Conflict is not personal. Conflict is pressure, and pressure reveals strength. Pressure exposes the weak parts of your identity so you can strengthen them. When someone challenges you, you are given a moment to rise. This is why conflict is one of the fastest ways to grow confidence, if you learn to respond intentionally instead of emotionally. The first step in mastering conflict is simple: pause before you respond. Insecurity reacts instantly. Confidence pauses. That pause, one deep breath, 1 second of silence, keeps your emotions from taking control. It keeps your presence intact. It keeps your identity at the wheel. In that pause, you decide who will lead the moment, your insecurity or your strength. Most people lose conflict in the first second because they react from emotion instead of awareness. They speak too fast. They defend too much. They raise their tone. They justify themselves. They leak insecurity everywhere. Your first reaction reveals your training. Your second reaction reveals your identity. Once you pause, the second step is grounding. Ground your posture. Ground your breath. Ground your gaze. If your body collapses, your mind collapses. If your breath speeds up, your fear speeds up. If your eyes dart around, your presence dissolves. Conflict is psychological, but it is expressed physically. The body must stay steady so the mind can stay strong. A grounded body creates a grounded voice. The third step is clarity. Identify what the conflict actually is, not what your fear thinks it is. Most conflict is not personal. Most conflict is miscommunication or emotional projection. People express their insecurities through volume, tone, and tension. What feels like an attack is often someone expressing their internal chaos. What they say reveals them, not you. When you separate the message from your identity, you free yourself from emotional entanglement. You stop taking things personally. You stop collapsing into defensive mode. You begin seeing the situation instead of reacting to the emotion. The fourth step is boundaries. Conflict tests your boundaries. Conflict tests your standard. Conflict tests your self-respect. Insecure people try to win arguments. Confident people protect boundaries. You don't need to overpower anyone. You don't need to dominate. You don't need to prove your intelligence. You only need to hold your ground with clarity. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are direction. A simple sentence with clear tone can settle most conflicts. I'm going to speak when I'm ready. I'm not comfortable with that. Let's stay on the point. You can disagree, but you will not disrespect me. Short statements. Calm tone. No apology. That is dangerous confidence. The fifth step in conflict is tone discipline. Your tone must be steady. Your tone must be clear. Your tone must not betray your emotions. A stable tone is more powerful than a loud voice. A slow tone is more powerful than a fast one. A grounded tone is more powerful than an angry one. Tone is emotional authority made audible. When your tone remains calm in conflict, the entire dynamic shifts. The other person either calms down to match your vibration or exposes their lack of control. Either outcome gives you leverage. The sixth step is emotional detachment. This does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means refusing to let feelings dictate your behavior. Emotion is information, not instruction. You acknowledge it, but you don't obey it. Detachment is the difference between reacting and responding. When you detach, you stop internalizing someone else's energy. Their anger does not become your anger. Their insecurity does not become your insecurity. Their tension does not become your tension. You stay centered because you stay sovereign. The seventh step is choosing your battles. You don't need to prove yourself in every conflict. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. You don't need to argue with people committed to being wrong. Confidence is knowing when to speak and when to walk away. Walking away is not weakness. Walking away is mastery. You protect your energy. You protect your dignity. You protect your peace. Not because you fear conflict, but because you don't waste power on noise. The eighth step is self-respect. Conflict reveals how much you respect yourself. If you shrink, you betray your identity. If you explode, you betray your stability. If you stay grounded, you honor both. Self-respect means you value your voice enough to speak it. You value your presence enough to hold it. You value your boundaries enough to enforce them. Self-respect is the core of dangerous confidence. The ninth step is reframing the purpose of conflict. Conflict is not an enemy. Conflict is training. Conflict is a mirror. Conflict is a sharpening tool. Each time you face conflict with strength, you become stronger. Each time you remain calm, you upgrade your identity. Each time you hold your ground, your confidence grows deeper roots. Conflict is the gym where emotional strength is built. The final step is emotional closure. After conflict ends, confident people release the tension. They do not replay the argument. They do not cling to resentment. They do not spiral into overthinking. They let go. Because holding on to conflict drains confidence. Replaying conflict weakens identity. Release the moment. Keep the lesson. You don't become powerful by avoiding conflict. You become powerful by mastering yourself within it. Face conflict with silence. Face conflict with steadiness. Face conflict with clarity. Face conflict with grounded presence. Because when conflict cannot shake you, nothing can. Face conflict without fear, and your confidence becomes unbreakable. Chapter 10. Protect your standards, not your ego. Confidence isn't built by defending your ego. Confidence is built by defending your standards. Most people confuse confidence with pride. They think confidence is about proving themselves, winning arguments, being right, or making others respect them. But that isn't confidence. That's ego management. Ego is reactive. Ego is fragile. Ego is loud. And ego collapses the moment someone challenges it. Your ego screams. Your standards whisper. One is noise. The other is power. Dangerously confident people don't protect their ego. They protect their standards. Your standards are the rules you live by, the expectations you set for yourself, the boundaries you enforce, the habits you commit to, the energy you allow, the behavior you tolerate, the treatment you accept. Your standards shape your identity, and your identity shapes your confidence. Standards define you. Ego distracts you. The reason most people lack confidence is simple. They let their ego drive their reactions, and they let their standards slip. They lower their standards to avoid conflict. They compromise their boundaries to avoid discomfort. They break their commitments to themselves to avoid difficulty. Every time you do this, your confidence weakens. When you lower your standards, you lower your identity. Your confidence grows when your standards become non-negotiable. When you hold yourself to a level of discipline that doesn't bend when life gets hard. When you refuse to tolerate disrespect, even from yourself. When you move through the world with clarity instead of emotion. Protecting your standards begins internally. You cannot enforce what you do not embody. If your standard is discipline, but you live in inconsistency, your confidence crumbles. If your standard is honesty, but you lie to yourself, your confidence collapses. If your standard is growth, but you avoid challenge, your confidence freezes. If your standard is self-respect, but you tolerate disrespect, your confidence dissolves. Your confidence can only rise to the level of your standards. The first step in protecting your standards is knowing them. Most people never write down the rules they expect themselves to live by. They drift. They adapt to other people's expectations. They let circumstances dictate who they become. But confident people decide who they are first and act second. Your standards should reflect the identity you're building, not the person you used to be. Standards turn desire into direction. You should know what your standards are in: how you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, how you let others speak to you, how you maintain discipline, how you respond to pressure, how you handle conflict, how you treat your time, how you treat your body, how you treat your dreams. Your standards are the boundaries that protect your confidence. The second step is enforcement. A standard that is not enforced is not a standard, it is a wish. Enforcement requires courage. It requires difficult conversations. It requires uncomfortable decisions. It requires choosing self-respect over approval. The moment you let someone cross a boundary without consequence, you teach them that your standards are flexible. And if your standards are flexible, your identity becomes unstable. Weak enforcement builds weak identity. Strong enforcement builds strong identity. Confidence is not about saying, "I deserve better." Confidence is about acting like you deserve better. Act through boundaries. Act through discipline. Act through clarity. Act through self-respect. Protecting your standards also requires emotional detachment. This is important. This is where most people fail. They think protecting standards means getting angry, defensive, loud, or confrontational. But that's ego talking. Ego needs to win. Ego needs to be right. Ego needs to be seen. Standards simply need to be upheld. You do not need to prove your standards. You only need to live by them. When you enforce a standard calmly, people feel your strength. When you enforce it emotionally, people feel your insecurity. Detachment allows you to hold your boundary without becoming reactive. It allows you to say no without guilt. It allows you to walk away without drama. It allows you to protect your peace without explanations. Detached enforcement is the highest form of confidence. Another part of protecting your standards is refusing to shrink to make others comfortable. You're not responsible for managing other people's insecurity. You're not responsible for making your ambition more digestible. You're not responsible for lowering your standards to fit their comfort zone. Every time you shrink, you teach your identity to become smaller. Every time you hold your standard, you teach your identity to grow stronger. Your confidence rises every time you refuse to shrink. Protecting your standards also means holding yourself accountable. Dangerous confidence isn't built by demanding excellence from others. It's built by demanding excellence from yourself. If you say you will do it, do it. If you say you will stop, stop. If you say you will rise, rise. Accountability creates identity. Accountability is self-respect in action. When you protect your standards, you protect the future version of you. When you let them slip, you betray that future. You betray the dream. You betray the identity. You betray the confidence you're trying to build. Another essential element in protecting your standards is time. Time is the master boundary. Time is the clearest expression of your standards. Where you invest your time, what you watch, who you talk to, what you work on, what you repeat, creates your identity. If you allow your time to be wasted, your standards are being violated. Your confidence follows your time. You cannot protect your confidence if you do not protect your time. Finally, protecting your standards requires letting go of people who refuse to rise, letting go of habits that pull you backward, letting go of environments that drain your energy, letting go of versions of you that no longer serve your identity. Letting go is not loss. It is leveling up. It is pruning. It is alignment. Your standards determine what stays and what goes. Dangerously confident people live by one rule. If it costs my peace, my progress, or my principles, it's not allowed. Your ego wants attention. Your standards want alignment. Choose alignment. Your ego wants to win arguments. Your standards want to win your future. Choose your future. Your ego wants validation. Your standards want discipline. Choose discipline. Because confidence doesn't come from the world agreeing with you. Confidence comes from you agreeing with yourself. Protect your standards and your ego becomes irrelevant. Protect your standards and your identity becomes unshakable. Protect your standards and your confidence becomes unstoppable. This is the final pillar of dangerous confidence. You do not rise by asking for respect. You rise by living a life that commands it. How to become dangerously confident. Dangerous confidence is not a moment. It's a transformation. You didn't just listen to principles. You walked through 10 gateways of identity. You stepped into the core of who you are. You shed old versions you've outgrown. You challenged the patterns that once held you back. And you met the parts of yourself that were waiting for you to rise. If you listened closely, you now understand that confidence was never something you were missing. It was something you were neglecting. Something buried underneath layers of doubt, hesitation, and noise. Something waiting for discipline to uncover it. Confidence is not built in your words. Confidence is built in your decisions. Throughout this journey, you learned that inner strength doesn't come from pretending to be fearless. It comes from learning how to lead yourself. It comes from mastering your voice, your presence, your breath, your identity, and your emotional world. It comes from taking responsibility for the way you move through life, and it comes from refusing to let fear write the story of who you are. You learned that calm is not weakness, it is command. That silence is not emptiness, it is authority. That boundaries are not walls, they are self-respect. That action is not pressure, it is identity building. Clarity creates confidence. Consistency protects confidence. Standards shape confidence. Every chapter prepared you for a new level of self-leadership. You learned how to trust yourself so deeply that doubt has nowhere left to live. You learned how to speak to yourself with strength instead of apology. You learned how to build a presence that says everything before you speak. You learned how to breathe through pressure and stay stable in chaos. You learned how to carry yourself like someone who knows their value. And most importantly, you learned how to protect your standards without defending your ego. Dangerous confidence is not the confidence that shouts. It's the confidence that holds. It holds steady. It holds boundaries. It holds identity. It holds silence when silence is power. It holds truth when truth is uncomfortable. It holds discipline when discipline is not convenient. That is the kind of confidence people feel. That is the kind of confidence people trust. That is the kind of confidence the world cannot shake. You are no longer someone searching for confidence. You are someone building it. And once you begin building confidence, it becomes your foundation for everything that follows. Your relationships, your career, your decisions, your future, your sense of power. But here is the truth that matters most. This audiobook is not an ending point. It is a starting point. These principles are not meant to be memorized. They are meant to be lived. Confidence is not a performance. Confidence is a practice. Every day, you will be given opportunities to rise or retreat. When you wake up and your mind tries to pull you into old habits, when someone disrespects your boundaries, when pressure tests your composure, when fear tells you to wait for a better moment, when the world tries to convince you that you are smaller than you truly are. Those are the moments that will define your identity, and now you have the tools to choose the path that builds you. Lean into discomfort. Speak with intention. Move with clarity. Protect your time. Protect your standards. Protect your inner voice. Because dangerous confidence is built through the small, silent, repetitive choices no one sees. The choice to stand tall. The choice to breathe slowly. The choice to wait before reacting. The choice to act before you feel ready. the choice to say less, the choice to say no, the choice to move forward anyway. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is steady. And when you become steady, you become someone people cannot ignore, someone people pay attention to, someone people respect instinctively, someone who carries a presence that reaches the room before your voice does. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be fearless to be effective. You don't need the world to approve before you rise. Everything you need, you already have. Everything you want, you can build. Everything you fear, you can overcome. You are no longer the person you were before this journey began. You're walking out with a stronger voice, a clearer identity, a steadier presence, a sharper mind, a deeper calm, and a confidence that is no longer fragile, but fortified. The world will notice the difference. You will feel the difference. And every day from this moment forward, you will build the version of yourself you once thought was out of reach. This is your new standard. This is your new identity. This is your dangerous confidence.